Hello everyone and welcome to Shadow's Secret. Today we are going to take you deep into the chilling corridors of the world's most haunted hospitals. Places where pain, death, and suffering left an imprint so strong that many believe spirits of the departed never truly left. And as we step into these forsaken buildings, you must keep your lights low, your headphones on, and your mind ready for the darkness that lingers inside. Because what I'm about to tell you is not just a story, but a journey into nightmares carved into brick and stone, starting with the infamous Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Kentucky, USA, once a tuberculosis hospital where thousands perished in agony during the early 1900s, a place where the so-called death tunnel carried away bodies daily to prevent other patients from seeing the endless cycle of death. And today those tunnels echo with footsteps that have no owner, whispers that call your name, and cold touches that send shivers down the bravest spines. Then we move across the world to Belitz, Hallstatten Hospital in Germany, a sprawling complex that once served as a military hospital during World War I and Roman II, where even Adolf Hitler himself was treated for injuries, a place now left in ruin with crumbling walls, broken glass, and graffiti. But more terrifying are the reports of ghostly soldiers marching in the night, disembodied screams from the surgery rooms, and shadowy figures that seem to stalk visitors as though the horrors of war still replay themselves endlessly within its cursed halls. And as we continue, we cannot forget the abandoned Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital in South Korea, a place so disturbing that the government permanently shut it down, surrounded by chilling rumors of doctors who experimented on patients, of strange deaths that were never explained. And today locals swear they hear crying children, banging doors, and even see figures standing at the broken windows as if the patients are still trapped inside their torment. And in England lies the haunting ruins of Denbigh Asylum in Wales, a psychiatric institution that opened in the mid-1800s, where overcrowding, cruel treatments, and decades of misery created an atmosphere heavy with despair. Many explorers who dared to enter its rotting corridors claim to hear hospital gurneys rolling down empty halls, screams echoing from wards that no longer exist, and even violent poltergeist activity that drives people out in terror. And then there is Old Changi Hospital in Singapore, a building that served both as a hospital and as a site of torture during the Japanese occupation of World War II, where countless prisoners were executed and civilians were brutalized. And to this day, people report apparitions of headless soldiers, cries of agony that fill the night air, and a suffocating energy that makes breathing almost impossible inside, as if the walls themselves still carry the pain of those who died there. But our journey doesn't end here, for in Italy stands the abandoned Poveglia Island Hospital near Venice, often called the most haunted island in the world, once used as a quarantine zone for plague victims, and later turned into an asylum where cruel doctors allegedly performed lobotomies. The cries of tortured souls echo across the island, and fishermen avoid sailing near its shores for fear of bad luck or seeing pale figures waving from the windows. Then we drift back to America to Penhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania, an institution meant to care for the mentally ill, but which became infamous for its neglect and abuse, where patients lived in filth, chained and beaten, their cries ignored by the world outside. And after it was shut down, the silence of its halls only magnified the echoes of suffering. Visitors often encounter apparitions of children, screams in the darkness, and doors that slam without warning, as though the building itself rejects intruders. And in Canada, the Riverview Hospital in British Columbia stands as another monument of misery, where mental health patients were subjected to outdated and brutal treatments. Its abandoned wards now filled with reports of figures darting in the corner of your eye, faint music playing from nowhere, and the lingering smell of antiseptic mixed with decay, as though the very air remembers every suffering soul. And in Japan, there is the infamous Nakagusuku Hotel, known as the Haunted Hotel, near Okinawa, which was abandoned mid-construction after workers kept dying in bizarre accidents. Rumors say the land itself was cursed, perhaps tied to ancient sacred grounds, and today those who dare enter speak of being followed by shadow figures, hearing growls in the dark, and an overwhelming feeling of dread so strong that many flee before even reaching the top floors. then we must whisper about Ararat Lunatic Asylum in Victoria, Australia, once home to thousands of patients where barbaric treatments were routine, from electroshock therapy to straitjackets, and today ghost hunters call it one of the most active paranormal sites in the southern hemisphere, with full-body apparitions, screams that freeze the blood, and even violent encounters where people are scratched or shoved by unseen hands. And across these places, one thread remains the same, that hospitals, once built to heal, become prisons of agony when abandoned, their walls soaked in fear, pain, and sorrow, their halls echoing with memories that never rest. And as I describe each of these haunted hospitals, imagine walking alone in their corridors, the flickering of your flashlight barely cutting through thick darkness, hearing the distant sound of wheels rolling, a voice whispering your name though no one is there, and the sudden cold breath against your neck, as if something unseen stands just behind you, watching, waiting, reminding you that some places are cursed not by myth, but by the weight of real suffering. And these haunted hospitals are proof that where pain is strong enough, death does not bring silence but only endless echoes. So if you ever find yourself near one of these terrifying places, remember this warning: stay outside, because inside lies not just history, but horror. And sometimes the spirits of the forgotten patients are not just memories, but restless shadows longing for company. And maybe, just maybe, if you dare enter, you won't come back out the same, because the walls might whisper your name forever. Thank you for watching Shadow's Secret. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you dare for more journeys into the world's darkest corners.